Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
All right, welcome into this edition of Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game. It is a Thursday, October 5th edition of the show. Very excited about today's show because we're going to be talking some Pirate basketball. In a little bit, we've got Seymour, ECU color analyst, set to join us on ESPN Plus now with Patrick Johnson, and we'll talk to him about the upcoming season. We also got our weekly chat with Pirate defensive line coach Marc Yellock coming as well, and so we'll be joined by Coach Yellock over the phone today and Seymour here shortly as we're talking Pirate hoops and football. We are live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, X, so if you've got a question, a comment, or anything for us, let us know, and we'll get to that throughout the next hour. By the way, wanted to let you guys know if you are a fan of the show but not yet a subscriber on hoistthecolors.net, we're currently running a special online, 2 months for a single $1. This offer expires at midnight but gets you access through the rest of the football season. Also, all of our recruiting coverage, that is a special offer we're running through the end of today. That, again, will expire at midnight. So just go to hoistthecolors.net. 2 months for a single $1 if for new subscribers, and to our longtime subscribers, thank you as well. Of course, that gets you access to Paramount Plus and more on HTC. Another thing to look forward to, Sup Dogs Live. We've got that tonight coming up 5 to 6 p.m. live from Sup Dogs. That'll be streamed exclusively on the ECU Sports Network. If you listen to the Patrick Johnson show earlier, they had Holt Nailers on, the former ECU quarterback. That show will replay at 5 o'clock today as well. And we'll also be talking to Holt Nailers from 5 to 6 at Sup Dogs Live, along with a couple of men's golf student athletes from ECU. Again, that will be streamed live on the ECU Sports Network. So looking forward to that, Sup Dogs Live, as we continue that show live from Sup Dogs this evening. All right, well, let's talk some Pirate hoops. We've got Seymour, the great Seymour, joining us on the live line. And we're just over a month away from ECU basketball coming back. How excited are you?
Oh, it's a wonderful time for me. Of course, you too. This time of year, you got everything going, football, basketball, just a lot of good things going on. But this year's basketball team, I think I'm probably the most optimistic I've been in a long time. This could be a pretty good year for ECU.
Yeah, I'm excited. And so, honestly, there's been a lot of hype around this offseason for the Pirates, and understandably so. We'll go through some of the players and some of the guys coming back. But, unfortunately, some of the football struggles, everybody on Hoist the Colors or everybody I see around town is now asking me about, what do you think about the basketball team? So, open date, I was like, it's a perfect time to get Seymour on, and lots to discuss with this team. And first off, let's start with last year, just the foundation Coach Schwartz set. They finished, one game under 500, but 16 wins, the most, I believe, in 8 or 9 years. So when you look back, and look, we were all fans of Joe Dooley, definitely, but do you look back at the first year Coach Schwartz had, and I think it went about as best as it could have gone in many ways, especially as far as setting the culture. Just what was your assessment on last year for Coach Schwartz?
Well, of course, I agree with you, and I thought Joe Dooley did a tremendous job. He was inherited a tough situation when he came in, but it worked out well for everyone. Joe's back at Kansas and with Bill Self, and he'll do a tremendous job over there. But Mike Schwartz brought a fresh, out-of-town attitude that had no idea about ECU, and he put a culture in that says, we're here to win championships. He didn't say win seasons. When he gets in these huddles at the end of practices and stuff, he's saying, we're here to get to the NCAAs every year. And he really pushes that with this. So it's a different air on when you go to practices, and the intensity level on defense was unbelievable. And he played with a young team, and you look up and he's playing tough against really good programs, winning some games on the road. You got to give Mike Schwartz and his staff just a tremendous pat on the back. I mean, when you look at what Jake Morton, and of course, Riley Davis, and all these guys did, I mean, it was just unbelievable. And now You get in Mark Adams, and we'll talk about that later on. That's a bonus guy. Reggie Williams, the strength coach, all these guys are doing a great job. Jesse is running the ops part. It's just a really good staff to work with.
We're visiting with Seymour, color analyst for East Carolina basketball, one of the best people in the business that I've had the pleasure of meeting. And Cy, you've been out to some of these practices. And before we kind of dive into some of the individual players, any big takeaways as far as just when you watch it, from the naked eyes, you're taking in these practices, like what stands out to you most?
Well, I think the great thing is, and when you really look at it, and I'm talking to staff on the side, and I'm watching. The thing is, it's not a young team anymore. We always talk about young at East Carolina. We've talked before, Stephen. We're young. We're this. Well, no. You've got R.J. Felton, who's a junior, legitimate. You've got Brandon Johnson, who is a junior. Quentin DeBunge, who's a junior. These kids are old. Ezra Azar is your youngest guy, and he played all year last year. All these guys that we're talking about are older. Bayala's older. These guys have had time to play here. And Bobby Pettiford coming in has played at Kansas. I mean, this is not a team that's young. They are ready to go, and they have the work ethic, not of a high school kid, but a college kid that's been through it. And they've been through it with Coach Schwartz, who's extra tough. I mean, I don't mean tough in a bad way. I mean they go after it hard. And the other thing I've seen is the staff is so good. Mark Adams adds a different dimension on defense. And you know me, Stephen, I coached it, and I love it, and I love what Mike Schwartz does. Schwartz is great at it, and now when you add Mark Adams with him, it just gets to another level. So a lot of good things going on the team, and these kids are ready to go. The biggest thing I know, they're tired of practicing against each other.
Yeah, and I was going to ask, from a defensive perspective, I remember being out there last year and just being kind of amazed at the level of detail Coach Schwartz would coach things up defensively. It was like if you're not in the right spot, the exact right spot, depending on what side of the court the ball handler's bringing the ball up, he would get pretty upset because all that stuff is detail-oriented, and it would just seem like the addition of Coach Adams, who has a tremendous background in college basketball, but definitely from a defensive perspective will take it to another level. So without giving away specifics, like what have you seen with that grown experience, like have you seen that defensive philosophy even go to another level?
Yeah. And look, I got Mark Adams one day, and I was out there, and I just wanted to pinch him a little bit. So I said, when we played Arkansas Little Rock against Chris Beard, I said, that's the best defensive effort I've ever seen against us. They put on a clinic. Well, guess who had the scout for that game? Mark Adams. He was his assistant there. And we broke it open there. We started talking. He said, yeah, that was my scout. He did a tremendous job. And so then I threw out, I was pulling for you against Virginia. And that shot the kid hit for Virginia in the corner to beat you, he worked and earned every minute of it. And then he started to break it down. And it was on a level I've not heard of. I mean, he is really good at what he does. And so is Mike Schwartz. They're on that level. And then you got the rest of the staff. You can't go wrong with Jake Morton. You can't go wrong with Riley Davis. They've been in it, and they know what to do. So it's a veteran staff. They've done it together. And but really, it is a different level. When he started talking about it, I said, my goodness, I'm just used to shell drills and getting one pass away, getting your foot in the paint, drawing the weak side charge. I'm used to stuff that they go to a totally different level, and it's and really now in today's world, it's about how to defend ball screens. They take it to a totally different level, and it's just fun to watch what these guys do. And the talent level's there. Stephen, the difference is the talent level that we have now, you've got 10 guys or 11 guys, it's tough.
We got Seymour with us, and one of those guys who's definitely talented and has been waiting for his moment is Bobby Pettiford. We know Coach Dooley recruited him hard out of high school. He ends up going to Kansas. Played, I think, in every game last year off the bench, but did unfortunately get hurt earlier this offseason, but I believe is back now. So what have you seen out of Bobby Pettiford? I think at this point you kind of assume he's the starting point guard, and what do you think he brings to this team?
Well, I think Bobby is a true point guard. I tell you how, it's crazy how this all started. Rafael Chilius and I were sitting at SMU eating breakfast, and he said, we're looking at a kid named Bobby Pettiford. Well, Todd, my son, was coaching at Wake Forest High School, and he had told me there's a kid over here that we need to be on, but he's just a sophomore. So I said, there's a kid, and I said, we were talking. He said, we're on that kid. I mean, that's what Chilius said. We're on that kid. So I got Todd on the phone to talk to Chilius right there at a breakfast table in Dallas, Texas, when Pettiford was a sophomore. They were on him. Joe did a great job on recruiting that kid, but give credit to Mike Schwartz. When this kid got put back in to the portal, Mike got on it. Coach Schwartz got on it, got him to come here, and that kid did. He wanted to come here. He wanted to be at ECU, wanted to come home, and he could have easily. He was supposed to take a trip after his weekend to Georgetown. He was supposed to go up to Georgetown and take a trip. He said, nope, I'm going to play at East Carolina. I want to be here. I don't want to go to Georgetown. I want to be at ECU. Now, the problem with Bobby is that he is a true point guard, but right now he's got a nagging hamstring. So when I went over the other day, he wasn't quite ready. He was working out and ready to go. But what Coach Schwartz tells me and what the other staff members, he is a true point guard. He has great vision of the floor. The big problem with a point guard, any point guard, I don't care who you are, is the balance between shooting it too much and not passing it enough, or passing it too much and losing your confidence in your shot. And we've been lucky. We've had great point guards. Tristan Newton knew how to balance it, and others. I mean, right down the line, we've had them. And Bobby Pettiford may be the best at that. He can defend. He can play hard. He's strong physically, and he can hit the open man for the assist. But he can also shoot. The key will be, can he stay healthy? Can he stay healthy? And right now, he's nursing a little bit of a hamstring, but he's ready to get out there. It won't be long. He'll be ready to go.
They also added Cam Hayes, and there's question marks as to whether he'll be eligible or not. Have you heard anything on that front? And then also, if he's unable to go, I guess the good news is you got a lot of depth in that, at the guard position that you can really count on. So, kind of a bonus if he's able to go. I do know he's got a redshirt year available as well. So, have you heard anything on Cam Hayes?
Cam Hayes, nothing. They're still trying to get it. This is me. This is a personal opinion. I don't know if he'll get it. It's very, very. They've been tight on this. The kid at Carolina in football couldn't get there. I don't know if they'll get it. I hope they do. I hope it works. But Cam Hayes could definitely help this ball club right now. He can shoot it from anywhere. He's got a great personality. He's got a winning work ethic. He played for a great high school coach at Greensboro Day. This is a kid that can really help you. And I hope he gets eligible. The pattern is like right now. You don't hear until late, and he's working out and wanting and eager to go, but you just don't know. My gut says I just don't see it happening, but that's me, and that has nothing to do with the university or nothing to do with the NCAA. But I hope he can go this year because he is a talent that can shoot it from anywhere. He's really a good player, and all these kids have really good. I was fortunate enough to meet the parents when they came in early September or early August, and these kids have people that really pull for them, and they're good people, and these kids are good players. It's a really exciting time.
No doubt, if he's eligible, he'll be a big-time addition right away. You just never know with the NCAA side. I think we can agree on that, what way they'll go in. Ezra Asar coming back, Brandon Johnson coming back. So, I mean, you got to feel good about those guys in the front court. And to me, I think Ezra was so good last year. I didn't even know at the time he was playing with the shoulder injury. So he's gotten that fixed. What's the next step for Ezra? Is it shooting the ball more? What do you feel like he can grow?
Well, I think Ezra has the ability to do whatever he wants to do. He can play. He can handle the ball on the perimeter. He can defend a two-guard. He's quick. He can do a lot of good things. And if he puts his mind to it, he can do about really any aspect of the game. I'm sure he's been working on his shot, as everyone has, and getting it a little further out. But as far as he's concerned, the sky's the limit. I think Brandon Johnson's shooting the ball the best I've seen him shoot it. He really has looked good. Ezra looks good. And never underestimate the work ethic and the ability of R.J. Felton. I mean, he is just – I went up to him after practice and said, R.J., looks like you'll have some depth and you'll get to rest. He said, I don't want to rest. He said, I want to be out there. That's his attitude, and he is a worker. What he did to Cincinnati last year in the home game against a great Cincinnati ball club and well coached was unbelievable what R.J. Felton did, and he's worked on his shot. But the guy that we really need to talk about that really changed the season for us was Jade Walker. That kid, 6'5", had to move to the point. He can guard 1 through 5. He's shooting the ball better. And he defends anybody and shuts you down. That kid, we've got, you're right. We've got Pettiford, but you're right. We've got depth there. And you also got the young man LeCount that can give you some minutes. But those guys that are coming back, and look, Ben Bayala and Quentin DeBouge are they're a step above this year just by getting a year in. So everybody we're talking about has had more playing time. They are ready to go, and they're confident. In one of the early magazines that I get, we're out of 14 teams, we're picked 6. We're never picked 6. Then in the Blue Ribbon magazine, we're picked 8 out of 14. We're never picked. We're always 10, 11, 12, or 13, 14. This is and they're even saying this is what we think, but it could be higher. This is a different team, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they respond.
So you mentioned DeBunje and Baela, and I even look at the freshman, it's Corey Faison, and I kind of see that wing spot, that 3 spot, maybe as I'm just waiting for somebody to emerge there. We know RJ can play. We know whether it's Pettiford or Walker handling the ball at point. My question is, who's going to emerge at that wing spot? Is it going to be Baela stepping up? Is it going to be DeBunje, or is it going to be Faison, the talented freshman? So do you feel like that could be kind of a key to the ECU season, who kind of emerges in that role?
Yeah, it could be, but the truth is, if your young centers play well, and Panito's out there who's coming back, and he's active, you've got the young kids that I really like. Sear Malanga's a good player. Callum Richards going to be good. You're going to get minutes out of them so you can move everybody around a little bit. Brandon can play the 3. He can play that swing. He's shooting it better, trying to handle it better. But you've got Ben Bayala, and like you said, I like both of those kids. RJ's going to be – you are fighting for time is what you're doing. These are all good players. I don't see RJ leaving anything. He's going to be really tough. I think Johnson's going to be tough. Ozar is going to be tough. And of course, the point guards are going to be tough. I think Ben and Quentin can really go after it. And young freshman, what I like about him, Stephen, I'm glad you brought him up. He already has the physical body of an American player in this league, the American Conference player. He's just got to learn. He can shoot it. And when he dunks it, it scares you. And I'm talking about the kid from Goldsboro, Faison. He's that good. But he's not there yet, and he doesn't have to be. In the past, a kid like that would start for us, make the all-freshman team, because he had to play 30 minutes a game. We don't have to do that this year. That's what's kind of nice. It's building of a program, and he's got really good parts of the puzzle that it's fun to watch. And you got to give the coaching staff credit for that. Every one of them, they have recruited, fought it out, and they've got a good, balanced ball club with experience and young kids.
Lastly, for you, Si, the schedule, do you like how it lines up? It seems like there's some winnable games early, but some tests as well. South Carolina, UNCW coming to Minges, the neutral site game with Florida. And, of course, the conference opener, the AAC gives ECU at FAU on January 2nd. So how do you like how the schedule lines up?
I think the schedule lines up well. The funniest thing about this schedule this year is really when you look at your conference schedule, you have 5 new coaches in the league. North Texas, Charlotte, Temple, Wichita State, USF all have new coaches. Now, and listen, make no bones about FAU. They're that good. And Dusty May is a really good coach, and he kept all 5 starters. And the conference didn't do us any favors, and that's our opening game down there at Boca Raton. That's our opening conference game against FAU. They're that good. And that's not a fluke. But the non-conference schedule, I think it's probably one of the best I've seen. I appreciate the administration putting on a 3-day tournament. I think that's really important, or at least a 3-game get-together against Northeastern, Georgia Southern, and Kennesaw State. I think that's important for your ball club. I think your challenges are going to be Wilmington, who's got everybody back and had a good ball club. I think South Carolina's going to be hungry, and then you've got Florida. It is a difficult preseason, but a good preseason because you got most of them at home. George Mason on the road will be tough, but they've got a new coach. So there's a lot of good things going on, but also tough things. So I'm like you. I like the balance of the schedule. I give credit to Coach Schwartz because he's got a lot of input to do this thing, and I think it's the right one. There's some tough ones. There's some easy ones. But the bottom line is you got to come out of there real successful in your non-conference schedule.
He is Seymour. Check him out this season. Color analyst for East Carolina basketball. ESPN Plus will be calling a lot of games with Patrick Johnson. And November 6th versus Ferrum. It'll be here before you know it, but we appreciate the time, man. Looking forward to the season.
And thank you for what you do, and let's keep it going. And good luck to the Pirate football team. But thank you for what you do. I mean it. It's a big help to the university and to these athletic programs.
Well, I appreciate you, Cy. You're the best, man. As always, we'll catch up again here shortly. All right, S. Seymour on the other side. We will catch up with Marc Yellock, the former ECU defensive line coach. We'll have our weekly check-in with Coach Yellock, look back at the Rice game, talk about the open week, and more. You're listening to a Thursday edition of Hoist the Colors.
A huge selection of new Toyotas is ready to go at Greenville Toyota. Rush in for the one you want before it's gone. Camrys, just $269 a month. RAV4s, ready to go for just $289 a month. Now at Greenville Toyota.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
At GoEco, we don't just supply the office space. We create solutions for any environment. Our state-of-the-art commercial-grade video display is perfect for watching film with the team. From film study to the field, elevate your game with GoEco.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
New Toyotas are ready to go at Greenville Toyota. Shop a huge selection with new inventory arriving daily. Don't see what you want? We'll find it or order it for you. Plus, fresh trades are rolling in and ready to go for delivery today. Rush to Greenville Toyota.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Arr, matey!
Back to the show with Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back into this Thursday edition of Hoist the Colors. We just talked some Pirate Hoops with Seymour, and really looking forward to that season. It will start November 6th. Now let's talk some Pirate football. It is an open date, but of course we're continuing on with our ECU football talk. A week from today, they will take on SMU. They're coming off a loss to the Rice Owls, and we were joined by Marc Yellock on the phone. And, Coach, we broke it down last week what East Carolina needed to do to win the game, and really they shut down Rice for the majority of the game. They played well for the majority of the game. They just didn't make those key plays to win it. So when you were watching it, looking back at it, what was kind of your assessment of the 24-17 loss to Rice?
That's exactly what you just said. You know, I thought that they, for the most part, they controlled the line of scrimmage, you know, defensive-wise, and they just did some good stuff, getting pressure on the quarterback. But all of a sudden, like that one play where we almost had him, JT slipped it, and then he, you know, made a completion on a 3rd and long situation. I think it's like maybe about 2 3rd and long situations they got that really was like, gosh almighty, if you just stopped them on those situations, you could be in a better situation, you know? Remember that time they got the penalty, like they hit, Rice had like 2 penalties in a row or something to that extent. Not the goal line one. I think it was a little bit later on in midfield that kind of crushed them. And then, I mean, those things, and they lost the field position even when they got backed up on that one drive. That was started like at the 1/4 inch line. So it was just those things right there. Is just I saw some good things, man, both sides of the ball. You know, I saw some things like that. You just hope in that situation that we could have just pulled out a win on that one, and just, you know, wasn't meant to be. But there's some lessons you can be built upon, and I'm always coming from the perspective of just building and continue to learn when you lose, learn from those perspectives, especially with the type of team that they have here. And what we'll see as a fan base, I know it kind of sucks now, but I think that as we go along in this process, that these lessons, that these young kids can learn these lessons, and these new players that they got can learn these lessons, and they can keep a hold of these guys from the portal, that they can learn from these deals, and they can start winning these games eventually.
We're joined by Marc Yellock over the phone. And yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of disappointed ECU fans, and I get it. You know, losing to Rice, never fun. ECU outgains them, though, 391 to 277. You know, I think it would be more discouraging if ECU went up there, got outgained by 200 yards, got beat by 2 or 3 touchdowns. You know, ECU controlled the time possessions. They just had to settle for too many field goals. And, you know, I think this team is maybe closer. I know nobody wants to hear this right now, but maybe closer than people think. You know, you're 1-4. Nobody wants to be 1-4, but you know, do you feel like there's still, you know, reason for optimism going into this open date? Like, you know, if they can clean up the necessary things, is there still time to turn this thing around?
No, I do think there's time. You know, they got a tough road ahead of them. You know, just like anything else, about to get in the meat of the schedule when it comes to conference stuff. I know this is their first conference game, but they got some more conference teams they're going to be pretty good, like UTSA, and those teams. You know, UTSA. SMU, those teams they got pretty good players, and you're gonna have to really play. They're gonna be a different way than Rice. They're gonna be a little bit better version than Rice, in my opinion, athletically in certain spots. So you know, they just got to continue to build on what they're doing, and learn how, you know, continue to learn how to win the game and play their brand and win field position and everything else. I think that was one of the glaring things there too, and towards the end of that game is the field position aspects of it. I would like to go back and see that field position aspect in that fourth quarter compared to all the other times, you know. I felt like they didn't have that towards the end of the game in their favor. And I think there is room for optimism. And I get it. People want to have, you know, they want to win now, and they want to win against Rice, and they kind of look down on Rice a little bit. But I told you before, Rice is a good team. They got good athletes, and towards the end, their athletes stepped up. Like number 10 stepped up towards the end. They kind of held them at the very beginning of the game, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, you start making some key catches there, you know. So, and by the way, though, I did tell you that JT Daniels was going to play this.
He did. He played. I don't know if he was 100%, but he made some big throws when it counted. There's no doubt about that.
No, he wasn't 100%, and I thought that going into the game, I thought that ECU had the right plan of getting after him and blitzing him. And here's a simple success. I always say simple success in situations like this. The game before, Rice was giving up. It was like 400 some yards.
Yeah.
In this game, you already said the total offense they had this time. So it just now is all about just winning those key possessions and those key moments and making competitive catches and just making the right plays at the right time. And I think that we'll continue to go in that deal. So I like the fact that they got 80 involved in the game. I like the fact they got 30 involved. I thought they did some. Number 5 has really stepped up in the last 2 games and really been that type of guy. So they just need to continue on. Yeah, I think it's Souls. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Soul.
I think if they just continue on and continue to build like they're doing, I think, and I know it always seems like I'm a homer because I'm an ECU guy, but I just tell her how I feel, and I really believe that there's steps to winning. I mean, especially with a new quarterback, with new positions, players playing not new positions, but new guys really fulfilling a bigger role. And you're going to go through some of these growing pains some years. Some years you may have some new players that come out there and they just gangbusters and they go and they just make plays, like a David Garrard, like a Shane Carden, like a Justin Hardy, those type of players, you would love to have those guys a lot of times. So sometimes they might not be in the cards initially, but I think they have some guys that can play.
We met with the coaches yesterday as far as media, and we talked to Mike Houston and the coordinators. I asked Coach Houston after the game, do you look at making any changes offensively, kind of given the struggles? And then he said we got to look at everything. He kind of reiterated that yesterday and said that he kind of sat down with each phase of the ball, I'm guessing each coordinator, to really hone in on what things they need to improve on to address their deficiencies. So kind of from your experience in a bye week, and it's kind of a shortened bye week because of the Thursday night game next week, but what is different this week compared to a regular week, and then how much can you really maybe alter or change what you're doing, or is it more just small adjustments?
No, what it is that you fall back on fundamentals in your off week. And really you don't fall back on it because you're always on it. You do the things that you talk about. You probably put yourself in these little situations that they falter in. I'm pretty sure they're doing a lot of. It looks like to me this they're probably working on situational football. I think that could be a good thing for them to be working, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the things that they're probably talking about is being better in situations and executing certain things. Now, this could be a good thing for them playing on a Thursday because usually when you play on a Saturday, you give the kids either Saturday off, and then you give them Friday or Saturday off, depending on the program, and then you come back at it on Monday, or I don't know, some teams have practice on Monday, some teams practice on Sundays, but whatever their off day is, then you just come back at the beginning of the next week, and then it just falls back into a new week. But this time, I'm pretty sure they'll practice. They'll probably give them a Sunday off or something to the extent you got to give them a day off. But you have more consecutive practices, so you get more of in a routine of things. And I'm pretty sure they're grinding. Because you're not relaxing off of 1-4 record. You're and the kids are probably feeling the blunt of it. Coaching wise, they're probably coaching them hard. But I think this is a good thing for them. They fall back on it. It's a good thing to assess what you need to work on. Look at your self scouts and see some of the things that you're doing, and what's good, what's bad, and what needs to be improved. Because you really got 2 things when you're looking at it when you look at your self scout. Is it scheme? Or is it player technique? You know what I'm saying? And then, and you kind of assess what we need to work on, and you go from there with it.
And fans, they want to change coordinators mid-season or change schemes. That's just, to me, it's not realistic. And I know it can be done, technically speaking, but if you do that, you also open a bunch of can of worms too. So from a schematic standpoint, can you really reassess what you're doing on a bye week, or is it more just, hey, maybe we leave this call on the table for now because we don't execute this call real well? Is it like specific calls versus just overhauling schemes?
Well, each week, coaches go through and they look at it. Coordinators and each side of the ball go back and look at your self-scout and kind of portray which you're good at and what you need to work at, you know? And then now at this point, it's just a summation of all those things you need to work on. And you look at it from this perspective and say, all right, what is blaring? What is consistently showing? Is it tackling? Is it blocking? Is it catching? Is it this read from the quarterback? Is the corner always showing this when we play in this coverage? Is the O-lineman always missing on this? And then, like I said before, then you go through it and say, all right, is it a scheme or is it a talent or is it a technique? You see what I'm saying? And if it's one of those deals, especially if it's a talent deal, you throw that play out or you throw that call out. Or if it's a technique deal, then you really home in on it and you get the technique fixed. And you're not going to get a lot of things fixed in a couple of days, but you can really home in on what you need to do and then address it. And you have a point where you can. We always like to talk. Ruff used to say this a lot: command influence. And then so they go as you go as the coaches. So if you really demand a certain thing or you demand a certain avenue of it, the kids always seem to get it done. It goes like that in the business world. You know, if your boss is demanding you to do a certain thing better, okay, you may not agree with it initially, but you're going to work on those particular situations and you're going to get better at it. And I think that those are the things that in the off week, this what the coaches are doing, because then now you don't have to worry about preparing for a particular team. You're preparing for them a little bit. So towards the end of the week, they're already working on SMU and working on some of the top plays that they're doing and some of the key situational stuff that they're doing. But along with that, they're also implementing some of the things that they kind of home in on. At the very beginning of the week, they probably have already addressed some of the things they needed to work on initially and did a self-evaluation on it. And throughout this week, they're working on those particular situations and along with working with SMU stuff.
We're visiting with Marc Yellock, former ECU D lineman and D-line coach, joins us every Thursday on the program. We've talked a lot about the offensive inconsistencies to this point, Coach. The 391 yards was the best output for ECU, and they ran 83 plays, not counting penalties. So they ran a lot of plays. They possessed the time, struggled to score in the red zone. But did you see some things offensively? You know, Alex Flynn ended up playing, I think, all but 2 snaps, near the goal line when they put in Mason Garcia. So do you see this offense making progress and things to build off on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I really do. I think overall, I thought that they did. I thought that they some people are stepping up, and some teams will make some guys are stepping up and making plays, and they just need to continue to do that. Again, we both said it. You said it at the very beginning of the show. Is that of the segment right here that you said that it's all about certain key moments of the game and is learning how to win and winning those key situations and those key opportunities. Making that third down throw or making that third down catch or making that 3rd and 1 on the goal line, type of thing in order to get it in the end zone. You know what I'm saying? Instead of rushing it and faltering on 4th and 1, making that play, scoring that touchdown. Maybe that changes the game. So those are the type of things that I know that they're going back and looking at and working on. So now I thought the offense is doing and getting better in certain areas and need a couple more guys to step up, which they will, because the other coach is going to coach them hard to do so. I like to see, 1 and 0 and 88 and those guys, in the receiver group that continue to do the things they need to do. I really like what Five is doing. He's kind of catching the ball and playing at a good clip from film. His coaches. I say that, and then you talk to the receiver coaches, says, man, he's got this, and he's got to work on. So the job is never done, but he's kind of stepping out. I'm seeing him a little bit more. Not saying, and 80's stepping up too. So I think in 30, and you see 47's playing a little bit more too. So that's good to see too.
During the bye week, I mean, it's you guys as coaches never really get time off, and you guys are recruiting. ECU's coaches will hit the road recruiting this weekend, and kind of balance that in addition to preparing for SMU. Just curious, like when you were in the coaching as recently obviously as last spring, but even last year, like during the bye week, do you get any downtime during a week like this? Or if you're in ECU shoes, like being 1-4 and having to recruit, does it even increase this sense of urgency even more? Like you almost have to work even harder Not that you guys aren't working hard, but I don't know. Like, does the situation ECU's in make it tougher to enjoy any downtime in a time like this?
Well, I don't know if any coach in America will have any downtime on any during the season. You know, I mean, like you're always on point. You always want to make sure that you're getting your base covered in your recruiting and just coaching your guys up and making sure that they're doing technique-wise and just everything that you're doing. No matter if you're 5-0 or if you're 1-4, you know, you're still on point with everything. Yeah, it makes it a little bit more sense of urgency because of the record, but you're still working your tail off in order to get what to get your job done and to get your room or to get your side of the ball or get your position group better. Recruiting wise, I mean, you're recruiting consistently and constantly, and it gives you a time to go out there and see some guys actually play because they went on the road this past weekend to Houston, so this week they can do a little bit more going out the road and seeing some guys and seeing some of the key guys that either got committed or some of the guys that they're trying to get in the boat, or even and maybe some guys in the area where they actually just need to see a little bit more, you know.
He's Marc Yellock. Last question for you, Coach. So I know you didn't deal with guys catching the ball firsthand when you were a D-line coach, but there were 7 drops this past weekend. It's kind of been, an ongoing ordeal for the receivers at ECU thus far this season. You know, when your position group was maybe struggling with something as a group, whether it be tackling or just, as far as executing assignments, obviously you have to address it, but do you worry about it as a position coach becoming mental at some point and that lingering? Like, how do you address something that is kind of a repeated issue as a position coach?
Okay, well, as a position coach, what you need to do is first, before you point the finger at the player, you got 3 fingers pointing right back at you when you're pointing at somebody. Okay, so first, so you look at yourself 3 times as much as you do that player. And this is true facts. How I assess any technique issues. All right, I look at it and see, all right, what am I doing drill wise in order to get this taken care of? Okay. Number 2, what is the issue? Because is it they're not holding their hands the right way? Is it that they're not expecting the ball? What is the issue? What is the technique issue within that situation? And you comb the film. You look at all those 7 drops that you mentioned there, and you just look at those things and really comb it as an individual coach. Okay. And then now, once you get, and really what you do is you look at all the drops, really, and you say, all right, and you break it down per player, per person, so you get individual with it, So, all right, you look at all of whoever number, whatever number it is. I don't want to call numbers out, but, whoever the number is that dropped the ball, you want to look at that individual person and say, all right, how does he catch the ball? What is his issue? And you look at each one as an individual, and then you look at and see what's the summation of it. All right, all of them are constantly doing this. That's the reason why they're not catching. Well, I need to drill this better. Or, well, this individual is not catching the ball because of this. And then you go individually, you bring them in your office, and you sit them down, and you kind of on a one-on-one basis, and you go through it. So you really comb in hard on it. I don't think you don't make it being mental. I think that you just address it. You don't have time for things to be mental. You got to just address the situation in order to get it fixed.
He is Marc Yellock. Coach, we appreciate the time on today's program. I guess we'll try to get you back in studio next Thursday. It'll be game day, so we'll have a nice preview then. But we'll talk to you next week ahead of SMU. But appreciate the time as always.
No problem. Hey, look, one more thing, man.
Yeah, what's up?
Have you learned the fight song yet?
Man, hey, I do, but I can only sing it after a win. ECU's got to win first.
Okay, well, you heard it here, guys. We're working on it. Okay?
Hey, we're working on it. So
we're going to pull that card when it happens next week.
When the Pirates win next Thursday, I'll sing it and I'll send you a recorded copy. How about that?
That's great, man. I appreciate you. Go Pirates.
All right, he's Marc Yellock. We will talk to him again next week. All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll share some comments from yesterday's press conferences with the coordinators on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
The best burgers around.
Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern living's best small town.
Just because voice-over IP telephones are the latest technology in the telephone world doesn't mean they're the right choice for you and your business. Whether your internet provider is unable to support a voice-over IP phone system, or you don't have a need for high-tech features and simply want to stick with a traditional system, Spain Telecom is here to help. Spain Telecom offers a variety of services to keep your business connected and competitive. We're confident we can find the right phone system for you and your business, a system that addresses all your communication needs. Looking for a new phone system that won't break the bank? In addition to new systems, Spain Telecom also offers gently used systems that are in great shape and can save you money. No matter your needs, Spain Telecom has a solution for you. Whether it's voice over IP, on-premise systems, new or used, give us a call at 252-353-2006 and let Spain Telecom help you with your communications needs.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Hey, grab me one too.
With Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back into the program. And we just talked to Mark Yellock. We're about to play cuts from Mike Houston here in a little bit in the coordinators as well as we wrap up the show. Got a question from Michael Jones on YouTube. He says, how long do you get to use growing pains as a reason before it becomes an excuse? I mean, I think it is an excuse, but it's also a reason. I mean, I think it can be both to a degree. You know, you're in year 5. You know, you should say you shouldn't have growing pains in year 5, but when you are breaking in a new quarterback and you lose all the offensive production you do, there are going to be natural growing pains, but not that makes the situation any easier for the fans or the coaches, but it is a reality too. But you know, you also, I think, have some talent deficiencies as well offensively. So they're not just growing pains. You also have some talent pains. I don't even know if that makes sense, but that's what I'm rolling with. So, I mean, I think there's been some recruiting misses in certain areas, and that is leading to some offensive struggles as well. But I really think with this defense, they can win some games. They just have to find a way to punch the ball in the end zone and manufacture enough offense, and that'll be the story coming out of the bye week. All right, so we were at practice on Wednesday during the open date. We caught up with Mike Houston, and I asked him after the game, do you look at any changes offensively? He said, we're going to look at everything. I kind of reiterated that question yesterday and said, how do you find the balance of making changes at this point along with not getting away from what has, you know, led you to success over your coaching career? So here's Mike Houston's response to that question on Wednesday.
Really, we've evaluated everything: personnel, who's on the field, who's not, how we're using personnel. Schematically, we've looked at things we're doing well, things we need to do better. I've laid out some specific areas for all 3 phases that I want them to have a concrete plan going into this next game of how to address deficiencies better. So hopefully all that pays off in us, playing at a much higher level.
So we'll see what those changes are. Coming out of the bye week, I would not expect him to announce, schematic changes, obviously going to a new game against SMU. And we'll have to see if anything changes, at least from the naked eye. Being out of practice on Wednesday, Donnie Kirkpatrick was still running the offense, clearly, and I didn't notice any major changes as far as, maybe some slight personnel here or there, but nothing that really stuck out. So we'll have to see how it looks next week when the Pirates kick off against SMU. We also talked with the coordinators. We brought up the drop issues with Marc Yellock, and we asked Donnie Kirkpatrick about it as well. And here was his response to the 7 drops and how he's addressing it at practice this week.
I can be a little high-strung. I know that. The kids would tell you that. Joe would back them up on that a little bit. I told them in the team meeting I was going to relax, okay? This happened last year when Holton and me had to kind of go round and round one day out there, and he told me I needed to relax, and I said, I will relax. Then you play good this week and y'all win. And we went on like a 4-game win streak. So I told him I'm going to relax. We've had some drops this week. I have not lost my cool one time this week. The thing is, the guys that have dropped them are guys that I know can catch them. That's why we're throwing it to them. That's why they're in there. And they will start making these plays. So we are trying to be positive because we don't want to just beat them down.
Talking about the drops from the receivers. Got to catch the ball. Can't have 7 drops. And, you can have 1 or 2, but you can't survive 7. Lastly, our last cut from the coordinators, Blake Carroll. It's been a pretty solid start to the year defensively, but they're still giving up that 1 or 2 plays that are just backbreakers, and that's kind of the emphasis this week. And Blake Carroll was asked about that, getting over that hump, heading into the bye and after.
Close ball games, you always can pick out. When you get blown out, sometimes you don't really pick out 2 or 3 plays. But when you're in a close ball game, you can go back to, double pass. You can go back to, hey, the 2-minute drive right before the half at App State. You can go back to a screen play. You can go back to a 3rd and 12. You could pick out 2 plays from each game, and it goes 14 points the other way. And, some of that is a little bit inexperience. And some of that we got to go make a play. We really do. And I think that's just really, really focus on our job, each individual, all 11, and make sure we're getting guys in the right position to make those plays too. So we're close. We just got to get over the hump and get there and really keep forcing turnover and keep focusing on what we do and how we do things.
All right, there's ECU defensive coordinator Blake Carroll. You can watch all those press conferences, Mike Houston, Donnie Kirkpatrick, Blake Carroll, on the Hoist the Colors YouTube page, also on the 94.3 The Game YouTube page as well. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Again, Holton Ahlers was on with Patrick Johnson earlier, and you can hear that at 5 o'clock on the Patrick Johnson Show, former ECU quarterback. We'll also talk to Holton Ahlers tonight, Sup Dogs live from Sup Dogs at 5 on the ECU Sports Network. That'll be live streaming on their social media pages, so check us out there. Tomorrow we'll be back 12 noon with Joe Sampson, game picks with Philip Pilkington as well. Thanks again to Seymour and Marc Yellock. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Hoist the Colors.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more of Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
5th Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous 5th Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. 5th Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
I'm a big mood. You can't name a lot of things that I didn't do. Stacking paper like a book, not a Kindle. You outdated, I'm the one they getting into. And I won't break a sweat. Let's get it. 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 Child, please, I don't need a towel.
Are you game day ready? Anson Belt, the official belt of ECU Athletics.
Are you ready for a digital hair color revolution? The Color Master Factory by Chi and LG. A masterpiece of innovation, unlimited color formulations, limitless possibilities, long-lasting color. Chi.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.